Welcome to this channel. So yesterday I shared the page 24 of my book Kung Fu 1560s, namely the long fist and short strike definitions made by Tang Sunzi in Ming Dynasty. And also that I share, according to General Qi Ji Guang, one must not tangle with the opponent's arm, because as soon as one tangle with the opponent's arm, then it is very muddy and you got a lot of ineffective move there. So that is according to General Qi Ji Guang. Thus, one don't put one's hand up there or try to play bridge hand or this hand versus that hand. So after that, I have received many messages from our Wing Chun friends and also traditional Chinese martial art friends or ex-traditional Chinese martial art friends who no longer practice traditional Chinese martial art because after years of they train there, they feel that it doesn't work. So there are two questions today I like to share with you all from the questions of all these friends who messages me. And number one is about structure. Structure in Chinese Kung Fu. The second is our Wing Chun friends asked me about Bong Sao. How is it different, the 1850s Bong Sao, the General Qi Ji Guang's Phoenix elbow, compare with the today's 1960 versions of Wing Chun? So I'm going to share with you on this too. One thing I like to share with you, if you watch the movie, The God of War 2017, you just go to YouTube, you type in God of War 2017. That is the movie of pretty closely describe what happened with General Qi Ji Guang. And you can see Yi Dao Yu there, and you can heard the name Tang Sunzi there. Okay. So the name Tang Sunzi is, you heard that before Qi Ji Guang's wife get really upset. Okay. By the way, Qi Ji Guang is well known as the person who is really afraid of his wife. So there's a joke saying that Qi Ji Guang can settle the Japanese pirate, but he always lost to his wife. Okay. So I guess that's a good thing. Of course, he's a good gentleman, right? Now, if you watch that movie, that battle at the end of the movie, where his wife and him and fighting the big time in the street, the flower street, Huajie, okay, that place. You know what? That happened 460 years ago exactly, in the April 25th to 27th. So it just happened a few days ago. If I can bring you guys back to 460 years ago to watch that. Okay. So Watch that movie, The God of War. Okay, it is pretty accurate with history. And that last battle happened in the 27th, the last one, the last scene, and all this thing, at April 27th. So the entire thing start at April 19, get to 27, and then it start again the beginning of May, and then by mid-May, Qi Shi Guang clear out the entire thing there. That is the very famous the Battle of Taizhou. Okay. So the reason I mention that is sometimes when I see this kind of thing, there's a sadness come up. 460 years ago, people really know their Kung Fu. Today, it is a mess. Have anybody heard about Qi Shi Guang? You heard about Tai Chi, internal, all this kind of stuff. Qi power, mind power. Have you fought in that battle 460 years ago? When I was young, I participated in the Kyokushin Open. You know, the night before you go fight in the open, it is really stressful stuff. Look at all our MMA friends today before they go to fight in the ring. First few days before they go fight in the ring. How does that feel? Now, think about 460 years ago. This time, okay, around 19th of April, how is all the General Qi Shi Guang's army feel? Because it is not a Kyokushin Open. It is not a ring in the hexagon or octagon. You might not come back. It's not about win or lose. It's about you might not go home. So as I point out in the Kung Fu 1560, General Qi Shi Guang said, learning the martial art is for your life. If you don't do it properly, you are giving out your life. That's how serious it is. Now, today, we have the structure, Qi power. Are you sure you're going to use the structure and Qi power to go back to 460 years ago to fight that battle with the Japanese? Pirate, and many of them are Japanese warrior, good in katana, jiu-jitsu, and so forth. Can you handle that? Will you go home with all this magic stuff? So this is reality, okay? And this is the sadness too. What have the thing turned into today? Especially for past 100 years. So let's get into the structure of this. There is no such thing as structure in Chinese Kung Fu. None. Zero. Why? Didn't General Qi Shi Guang say that it is one momentum transfer to transform to another momentum? Didn't Tang Shunzhi talk about the long fist momentum and the short strike momentum, like in the yesterday's video I shared with you? How is that supported by structure? How is structure get into that? You go turn around in the world, just look at how many people really even know who is Tang Shunzhi, not to mention all the definitions on the long fist and short strike. That is how serious it is. So, Chinese Kung Fu do not have structure, but mobility. Momentum functional training, as I put in Restricting Wing Chun. That is from Shaolin Short Strike book, classic, as I pointed out in the Restricting Wing Chun book. That is the real deal, not structure. Okay? Now, you look at it in today's sports science or science for rehab. You know that all our joints, the 7 joints, 7 bones, the spine, it has a continuum of mobility and stability. Okay, so one joint is like the hip joint is for the stability or mobility and so forth. Like your ankle is for mobility. This is for stability. This is for mobility, so forth. You go check in the YouTube. Just type in mobility, stability, continuum. You can see all this thing in today's science. Okay. Can you make that a piece of structure? When certain part of your body need to be the mobility part, certain part of your body is the stability part. Well, of course, stability and mobility is for motion. Does structure contribute anything to motion? So if you never train how to handle your stability and mobility, how are you going to handle your body in motion? Not to mention, now we're talking about momentum, recycling a momentum, and within the recycling momentum, you have your background momentum, all sort of stuff, like I present in the Wing Chun Matrix. So you just look into it. Oh, this is for mobility. This is for stability. This is for mobility, and you go up. You clamping your knee like that, or you stand have to be 站桩 like that. Do you even aware of the different bones or joints handling based on their nature of this is need to be a mobility, a stability or mobility handling? So structure is completely not scientific, and it got nothing to do with what 460 years ago. As where is this thing come out? Well, heaven knows. So even the proper 站桩, 心气度丹田, the body move. It never lost the stability and mobility handling of the body. It never. That's why you heard me talk about the 7 bones. Like in my book, all of this book, you know, from basic Wing Chun's art and science to the Wing Chun inception, you have all the stability, mobility, the 7 bones. The Chinese don't call it stability, mobility, but the Chinese call it 7 bones. You need to handle and you need to know each characteristic of that. Okay? So that is the truth of what it is. It never is a structure. The second, it never be a structure because you don't want to turn into a wreck. Like a wreck, or like a structure, or the what they call it, the wall or something like that. You want to be mobile, because the bottom line is you need to be able to flow, be able to have good movement. And so today, 460 years ago until today, the 460 years ago and today's sports science, rehab science, on mobility and so forth, they are matching. They go in the same direction. Where is this Chinese structure and all this Qi stuff? Well, I really don't know why all these millions of people circle around with that thing, which is not Chinese, not ancient Chinese, maybe today's Chinese, and not scientific at all. Okay. Now, in talking about the structure, one thing come up from our Wing Chun friends. Talk about this immobile elbow. Like the Wing Chun have this immobile elbow. You have to put elbow here. You punch from here. This immobile elbow is a type of structure which is really limited in movement or momentum handling. Why? Two things is the weakness of this thing. If the opponent knows this weakness, they just attack that. The entire thing, the entire immobile elbow is destroyed. One is between here and here. Between here and here. This immobile elbow type of strength generations from here to this position, proper position, it cannot generate power. So you have a blackout, a strength blackout, or a timing gaps there. So whenever it's here, until here, that range, one is not be able to generate power or strength. That's number one. So you give your opponent a timing gap or a space gap or blackout time. The second is the front view. If you look at like in the movie, always like that. Okay, like that or like that. Okay, see all the Wing Chun movie is like this and like that. Now look at the front view. Okay, the front view. This part, this is a gap between my hand to my shoulder. This is the gap because this lock up the shoulder and the arm. So when you do that, you are using only shoulder or you get rigid because of your so-called immobile elbow. So how to illustrate that? If somebody strike me right from there, you can see that it strike me in there. See that? Slips in, strike me there. Okay? If you strike me there, no matter how I do with all those hand techniques, I will not be able to handle this strike or to defend this strike because my shoulder jam up. And of course, with that, your entire body, you break down. Okay? So when people do that, as soon as you strike in from here, we'll have a very difficult tough time to really function. You can feel right away if you want to function here, your shoulder stuck. You use a strength shoulder. So first you have a gap here, strength and space gap. The second is you have a uncover space here. So open. So your immobile elbow, as soon as the opponent attack from these two things, you don't have defense. Now, you might question me, so what is the general Qi Ji Guang or the Tang Sun Zhi short strike or the 1850 Wing Chun do? Well, in the short strike, you can strike from here because the body is turning, torquing, Shaolin. Okay, this is a short strike art. The minute you put there, this is a long fist art. Okay, the minute you do this, this is a long fist art. This is a structure, the short strike art. Remember in the last video, in the short strike art, you have less room and less time because it's so close. Time and space is constrained, so the body at the so close is based on torquing, not based on structure, and not based on this immobile elbow. So it's going like this. Now, and how about this? Try to struggle, have a tough time, I have to use all my shoulder. Go try it and see, am I present you the truth of this body mechanics or not? Well, it turns out that like the 1850 Xiu Ling Tao Part 2, there is a section in Part 2. To break this, you don't want to do this. If the opponent somehow get into here, what are you supposed to do? You pull this back. See, instead of like this, try to struggle with him, you turn. Okay, you turn your arm like that. You pull it back while you're turning your body. That thing is going out. So if you like this, even if it's like this before coming in, I turn like that. It is going out there. Okay, and of course this is striking because this is actually receiving. You take him in instead of trying to struggle in. And as well, I say that as in the second sections or second part of the 1850 Wing Chun. So you can carry him in, you can strike him. But that is, you need that, you require that. Okay, so it is this. It is never like that, try to do all kind of things. It doesn't work. It's going to penetrate in. It's going to penetrate in. So what do? Pull in, out. Okay, now you see. All those things, as the Shaolin Short Strike Classic said, 截转轮返. Every joint, every bolts is torquing, turning for attack and defense. That's what it is. It is no structure. Because you are not pushing. At this short strike distance, you cannot afford that pushing type of stuff. And you have to cover this. So when it's coming from here, I cannot pushing from here, grab in and in, a turn. Okay? And I want to generate power from here, I generate with my torque. I'm not generate with the pushing. Okay? So, there is structure. There's the reality. According to General Qi Ji Guang, Tang Sun Zhi, Shaolin Short Strike, and today's sports science. Okay? And 1850s Wing Chun is like that. It's the Xiu Ling Tao sets. Now, so our friend asked me about this Bong Sao. Today's Wing Chun, you have this Bong Sao. 1850s and General Qi Shi Guang do not do this type of Bong Sao. Why? Because I don't want to tangle myself with his hand. His body is what I want, not his arm. Okay? So the Chinese say, 不招不嫁只是一下，犯了招架就有10下。As I wrote in the Kung Fu 1560. So how you do it? This Bong, like in the 1850s Wing Chun, is called Phoenix Elbow. If you read the Kung Fu 1560, you can see that. So Phoenix Elbow have two type of momentum type. The first type of momentum type is so-called reverse momentum type. This hand grabbing, this is actually banging at the opponent's elbow. Swap, bang. Okay? This is called reverse elbow, reverse Phoenix elbow. There's another elbow called forward Phoenix elbow, which is this. Okay? So, one is with the torque type, another one is with the direct in. It's the direct forward. So, this type of momentum is when you get attacked, okay, or slips in and attack from the side. It's a short strike art, close the body, very close body, okay. Or you can attack on the with this too if you want, if there's a time for that. Okay, depend on you use this part or use this part. Now, the reverse and the direct or forward Phoenix elbow, it can be used alternatively. Okay. For instance, I get in using the reverse elbow to attack him. He struggled. Your opponent, of course, going to struggle. You're going to struggle. What are you going to do? You step right in with the straight or forward elbow. Okay. He tried to get away. You watch, my leg here is behind his lead leg already. Fat Sao. Throw him out. So it is something like that. Okay, as you can see in my book, the Kung Fu 1560. So it is all about momentum. So right now I'm presenting to you today, not Hendrik's opinion, Hendrik's talk, Hendrik's lineage. None of that. History is written in this way. Science today is presenting it this way. There is a reality. Are you going to face it? Are we going to face this reality? Admit it. We no longer have Chinese Kung Fu. We have something somebody created, where it never can be used 460 years ago, last week, when General Qi Shi Guang had that battle of Taizhou. And remember, it is not about who win the fight. It is about who go home or not. You can read about the Taizhou, all this battle. What is the effectiveness or efficiency General Qi Shi Guang's army do? How many men he lost compared with the Japanese pirate? How many men he lost in comparison to how many army is there in that battle? Read it. Is that more than 85%? So he lost very little men. So that is a reality. So 460 years later today, what I, after reading this thing, investigate on this thing. What I found is only sadness. Sadness, yes. Sorrow. Because what it is no longer what it is.